coming off that game number 3 win, the only loss of the CLS Knights so far here in Kertajaya in the ABL playoffs. Before that, they went 4-0 in our first round and in the semifinals.
That is correct. And during the regular season, only losing thrice.
That's right. The CLS Knights here in Surabaya, Indonesia. By the way, we have a very electric and a champion.
We present to you the general. Siapa namanya? Yes, Douglas Harris.
That will be in Singapore, if ever, on Wednesday, if the Knights are able to come away with a win to even up the series.
First 2 games of this series were blowouts. Marco B, CLS winning game number 1, taking one in Singapore at the OCBC Arena, winning by 19. Singapore, though, coming right back, bouncing back big time and getting a 20-point win. In game number 3, though, it was a game so
basketball game, even though it is squad.
Dangerous team. ABL is a starting unit for John Fields because CLS has been giving him that mid-range shot. Oh, Maxi Esho out of control there at midcourt, unable to handle the pass. 2 turnovers to start the game for the CLS Knights. Not a good sign here for the home squad.
Remember, turnovers, team turnover,
create cushion. The defensive end.
That's the reason why the break points
this season has
for Coach Neo.
3-12 game in the opening game of this series. He has been stopped and only has totaled 13 points in the last 2 games, 8 points in game number 2 and 5 points in game 3.
He has been outplayed by John Fields the past couple of games. John Fields coming out a lot more aggressive, not only offensively but also on the rebounding end.
Watkins couldn't complete the 3-point play, so our score will stay at 4-10. John Fields looking for the high-low here. Delvin with space. Couldn't make it though. Oh, Delvin hustling for it, but Esho will recover.
Everything but the shot there for Delvin. Go. Nice entry pass there from John Fields as Jawato uncontested to the hoop.
Look at the acceleration right there by Brandon Jawato. Able to lay it up and in, and we have a foul here this time. The first one called against the CLS Knights.
And this could be potentially a matchup that will be crucial here because Jawato has the foot speed advantage against Delvin Go, but Delvin Go has the size and the heft advantage. Right. That's why Singapore is looking to pound the ball inside to Delvin Go.
Alexander Esho. Esho's been guarding the X-Man here in the first quarter. Alexander inbounds it to Fields. Fields. Back out to Alexander, and Singapore will be patient on their offense in this sequence. They go inside. Fields with space. Fields couldn't put it in, and he is called for the travel.
Nice stop there coming from the Knights. Good help side defense as well for Daryl Watkins. So far, Martin, 8 of the 10 points of the Slingers coming off of CLS turnovers.
But the CLS Knights have responded very well here, only down by 4 as Wong Wei Long passes it outside. Brandon Jawato handling the rock. Jawato, oh, good bounce. Watkins with a finish.
And again, that one created by the penetration and the nice dish from Jawato. Hey, deliberately finding their big man, Daryl Watkins, inside.
And a missed opportunity right there for John Fields. Here comes CLS looking to tie it again. Herring is fouled by Larry Liu. He will go to the line for 2 shots.
Something we did not see a lot of in Game 3. Doug Herring applying pressure on the defense to get back in transition. That time with a crossover, trying to finish with the right.
And it looks like that was the game plan of the timeout by the CLS Knights. Put pressure on the defense, attack relentlessly the Singapore defense. Doug Herring making the first free throw, tallying only 12 points in game number 3. Had a tough shooting night, going 4 out of 13. Looking to tie it up here for the first time. And he does just that. We got free throw 2 for 2 as we approach the halfway point of the first quarter.
And importantly as well, they have gotten the crowd back into this game.
Chance of defense here, but Delvin breaks away.
That's another possession where they have attacked the defense of Jawado inside the paint.
That is a nice move by Delvin Go. CLS couldn't counter. Here comes Singapore, back the other way. But CLS quickly setting up on the defensive end. Nope. They leave Desmono open. Got lucky there that he missed the shot. And we have an open guy on the other end. Doug Herring takes advantage.
Doug Herring caught cherry picking there. Did not get back down on defense. Lucky for them, Desmono missed the triple. And Daryl Watkins with a quick outlet pass.
John Fields forced out by Watkins. But what a big boy drive right there by John Fields. Blowing by Watkins for the deuce.
And one thing very different about the Knights this game is off the miss or the make, they are pushing the ball in transition. Jawado that time not even waiting for his point guard, just bringing the ball up the floor, drawing the foul against Desmono.
And that's part of our keys to the game here. If you're CLS, you want to run, and get as much offense as you can against the Slingers. Because it's very hard to play Singapore on the half-court set, and that is Watkins attacking and drawing the foul in the process.
And if Singapore is going to pound the ball into Delvin Go, the Knights are going to pound the ball into Daryl Watkins. And he's going to pick up the foul from John Fields. And you know, Martin, I think one-on-one, Daryl Watkins has the slight advantage against John Fields.
Or he definitely has the strength advantage. As we take a look at the previous play there, but Watkins starting out very aggressive here in the ball game. And he had a lot of misses in point-blank range in game number 3. So far to begin this one, he's been making all of them.
And that was one of the reasons why he was so frustrated in game 3. But you know, for me, the big difference right now, Martin, is that the Knights, as we talked about in the keys to the game, they have been pushing the tempo. 6 fast break points already compared to 0 for the Slingers.
Here comes Larry Liu, goes baseline, almost losing it. Lost it there. 2-on-2 break here. CLS Knights, they don't have the numbers. They will wait. Wong Wei Long driving. Wong Wei Long flips it up, couldn't make it. Ball tapped out. Desmono saves it inside, but it's going to be CLS basketball.
I love the effort there from Desmono, but just not enough room to save that basketball.
3 minutes, 40 seconds remaining, and this is Sandy Cornyawan checking in the ball game for CLS.
One of the guys who was very crucial in game 1 came off the bench. Really played well for them, but he has not played exceptionally well in the past couple of games. They're going to need his shooting. They're going to need his offensive production.
That teardrop doesn't work for Sandy Cornyawan, and he commits the personal foul right after. So shooter for shooter substitution here by both coaches. Ang Han Bin has been inserted by Coach Neo Beng Siang on the side of the Singapore Slingers.
And in terms of the bench production, Ang Han Bin has really outplayed Sandy Cornyawan off the bench. Just 6 points for Cornyawan off the bench in their last game, while Ang Han Bin is averaging about close to 8 points per contest.
And he has scored timely baskets for the Singapore Slingers, but CLS is able to force another turnover on Singapore. That's a bump and a foul called against Xavier Alexander. Maxi Esho on the drive.
Good decision there on the part of Maxi Esho. He has the length to be more to have the advantage against Xavier Alexander inside the paint. And you know, one thing about Esho in the past couple of games, we've seen him settle for a couple of outside shots. Once Alexander has been able to close the door on that penetration, he has to continue to be aggressive. Continue to attack the paint and hopefully draw a couple of fouls early here from the X-Man.
And it looks like that's been the game plan here for the CLS Knights. They've been setting less on those outside shots. Remember, in game number 1, they controlled the paint. Talking about the CLS Knights outscoring Singapore in that game in the painted area 50-28. So they're looking to do the same here, looking to use that to their advantage. As Maxi Esho misses the first free throw.
Well, right now, Martin, it's a 10-4 advantage in terms of points in the paint, and you credit that especially to the aggressiveness of the Knights going to the hoop.
Approaching 3 minutes remaining. In our first quarter here, Singapore has possession. Larry Liu. They go to Ong Han Bin, who is hounded by Sandy Curnyawan. Here's the X-Man up against Maxi Esho. Alexander has been a non-factor so far. Not anymore, though, as he scores on the drive.
Somebody's got to protect the baseline. Alexander just blowing by his defender, finishing at the rim.
Alexander gliding and scoring there. Here comes Watkins. The kick out. Jawaro passed up on the free. They keep the ball moving. Esho on the attack. Flips it up and in.
Again, once again, good decision on the part of Maxi Esho. Did not settle for the jump shot. Instead, attack the rim.
And the Singapore Slingers have been sloppy at the latter half of the first quarter. CLS with yet another steal. Here is Doug Herring up against Delvin Go. He has the quickness advantage. Let's see if he will break this down. Herring stops, sends it out. That's a save by Jawado. 3 seconds to shoot for CLS. Here's Watkins. Oh! High off the glass and in to beat the buzzer for Daryl Watkins. But nope, they're not going to count that. They call the shot clock violation.
It looks like he had the ball still in his hand as the shot clock expired. And Jaron Young is going to make his way a little bit late here in the first quarter. Played 34 minutes in Game 3. And Coach Neo Beng Shang sending him into the fray. They're going to need his outside scoring. They're going to need his athleticism and his ability to finish on the break.
Ooh, that is a hand check called against the CLS Knights.
That's going to be against Arif Hidayat. Not yet in the penalty are the Knights.
Backup guard off the bench here for CLS. Arif Hidayat called for his first. And it's 17-16 in favor of the CLS Knights. A minute and 40 remaining in our first quarter. Here's Jaron Young. They send it out. Ong Han Bin moves closer, takes the shot off to the right. And that is last touch. They're saying it's last touch on John Field, so CLS will have possession.
Very similar to the way we finished the first quarter in Game 3. It was a 17-16 advantage. Also in favor of the Knights. They have about a minute and a half to improve on this output.
Lots of similarities in game number 3 here. Oh, that's a hard bump.
That's going to be an illegal screen set there by Daryl Watkins as he was moving. And sometimes as a ball handler, you're going to have to wait until your screener is set. Otherwise, he's going to be called for an offensive foul.
So CLS commits the turnover. Singapore will have another crack at the basket here. Again, had a great start to this game. 10-2 was the advantage earlier, but it has been a 15-6 run by CLS from that point.
Lackadaisical pass there on the part of Desmond. One thing that Watkins has done well as he has pushed John Fields outside of the painted area.
Here is Desmono. John Fields, you're right. He is forced to take the mid-range J, and that is too strong. That's a shot they're going to be giving him all night. Foul against Ong Han Bin on the rebound against Watkins.
And that's going to send Daryl Watkins to the free throw line. First personal foul on Ong Han Bin, but Singapore Slingers already with 16 fouls. Daryl Watkins has so far been the leading scorer of the Knights with 8 points here in the first quarter.
Look at the towering rebound right there by Watkins. Again, this is a mid-season acquisition for the CLS Knights, but Watkins has provided the stability and the inside presence for the Knights. Big reason why they are in the finals here in the 9th season. And he is also a very good free throw shooter as he goes 2 for 2 on that trip. 19-16 is the count.
In the season, Daryl Watkins averaged about 14 points, close to 15 points per game in their 6 games already, if I'm not mistaken, against the Singapore Slingers. He's averaging about 15 points per game. So he is already approaching that figure or that number, and we're only in the first quarter.
Sharon Young on the pull-up jumper, knocks it down.
Now they're going to have to play better defense on that ball screen for Jaron Young, as he has proven that he can knock down those jumpers.
So it is Nugroho subbing in for Daryl Watkins for CLS. Players caught ball watching there, but Singapore Slingers will have it. Here's the shovel pass to Delvin Go, a long one, and Go could not handle it.
Slingers were going for the 2-for-1. As a basket there by Delvin Go would have left them about 5 or 6 seconds on the shot clock to end the quarter. But right now, Knights probably try to milk the clock.
They go back to Doug Herring here. Doug Herring, 7 assists in game number 3. He is up against Jaren Young. A good matchup here in this ballgame. Young, of course, one of the top defensive players in the league. Herring using the Nugroho screen. Herring attacks, got tripped, and we have a foul here against the veteran Desmono.
That's a clear foul there on the part of Desmono. Was late on the help. He's going to be called for an unsportsmanlike foul. That's a big call there.
Yeah.
That's going to mean 2 free throws plus ball possession.
Here's the move by Doug Herring. Got tripped. That was quad to quad.
Yep.
Desmono and Doug Herring colliding right there, and will be called rather for the unsportsmanlike foul.
And I feel that's a good call there on the part of the referee, as there was no attempt to draw the charge. Instead, it was sort of a hip check on the part of Desmono. And that's going to sting. But Doug Herring makes the first free throw.
So instead of having a 2-for-1 situation for the Singapore Slingers, now the CLS Knights will have 2 free throws plus possession with 10.3 seconds remaining.
Possible momentum shifter as they head into the second quarter.
So 10 seconds remaining in the first here. CLS will have it. Shot clock is dead. And Doug Herring here up against Jaren Young. 21-18, that is the score on your screens. Oh, but CLS almost throwing it away. What a save right there by Esho. But that prevents the CLS Knights from getting a shot off,
That's
Marco
a
B.
wasted possession there on the part of the Knights. That's going to be turnover number 6 for the home squad. Shooting themselves on the foot. They could have possibly gone up by 5 or even 6 points to end the first quarter.
Here's Jaren Young. We'll wait it out, and that is the end of the first 10 minutes of play. This is game number 4. The CLS Knights getting the upper hand after our first chapter. We'll be right back for the second frame. You guys are still watching the Asean Basketball League Season number 9 Finals, Rise to Greatness. Welcome you back to live action inside Kertajaya in Surabaya, Indonesia. ABL Finals ongoing right now. We are entering the second quarter of this game. It is a 3-point lead for the home team, the CLS Knights. Our score is 21-18. Martin Javier, Marco Benitez breaking this game down. And Marco B, how were the CLS Knights able to recover in the first quarter after a slow start? And how were they able to take the lead at the end of the first frame?
Well, Martin, two of the things we talked about at the start of the game, points in the paint and fast break points, or controlling the tempo. Knights outscored Singapore Slingers 12-6 in terms of points in the paint. They also outran the Slingers 6-0 in terms of fast break points. So they were the aggressor. They took the ball into the paint and they tried to push the pace and got out and scored in transition.
Oh, that is a big triple to tie things up here by Larry Liu. They call it a long two, though, so it is 21-20. 1 point lead by CLS.
And that is one area where the Singapore Slingers have been able to get the upper hand. 2 triples already for the Slingers. No triples yet in the game for the home squad.
There's Maxi Esho almost losing it again. Hitayat drives, goes to Negroho on the short runner there. No go.
Not really the shot that you'd want Negroho to be taking at one-handed runner on the baseline.
And John Fields drops in the jumper. That's his second mid-range J tonight.
That's 4 straight points right now for the Slingers to grab the lead back.
So a 4-0 start. 2 quick baskets for the Singapore Slingers to begin the second frame here. Quickly recovering in this contest as Arif Hidayat surveys the floor. He's got the switch. He's got John Fields on him. Oh, good fake by Hidayat as he scores underneath.
What a play there by Hidayat coming off the bench over the towering John Fields.
Alexander. He's got the smaller Hidayat on him. No longer, though. They go to Jaron Young. High-low play. John Fields hounded, but able to muscle his way underneath for that foul.
See the Knights playing a little zone there with Daryl Watkins on the bench. That's going to be a foul against Nugroho. And that's going to send Daryl Watkins back. So that's about 1 minute and 40 seconds of rest for Daryl Watkins. So Coach Brian Rosam really pacing his star center, as John Fields has pretty much played the entire game.
That's right. John Fields has tallied double-doubles in all of the 3 games so far. 16 and 14 in game 3. Missing on the second, though.
1-2-2 half-court pressure from the red shirts.
Esther for 3. That's his first attempt from the outside. It will not drop.
Knights cannot buy a basket from downtown.
There's the kick out. Larry Liu. Saguaro with great recovery right there. Jaron Young. They go to John Fields, who is looking for Alexander. He's got the mismatch. Alexander couldn't get the rebound. It ends up with Jawaro.
Fields initially wanted to feed the ball into Alexander, hesitated and left that jumper short.
Alexander had Hidayat at the post in the previous sequence. Here comes Esho attacking Young. Esho out of control, able to lay it up and in. Maxi Esho able to score the deuce, but they're protesting because he caught the ball right after he made the shot.
Slingers asking for a delay of game.
Alexander stops, fires. That is off to the left.
And if I'm the Knights, I'm giving Xavier Alexander that long bomb all game long. Make him prove that he can beat you from the outside.
Esho stops, turns, fires. Too strong, great defense right there by Singapore. Young using that field screen. Sharon Young zigzagging. Difficult shot.
A little out of control there was Jaron Young.
Oh, Hidayat open for 3. Knocks that one down.
That's 5 points off the bench from Arif Hidayat. What an energy boost, and that forces Wong Wei Long back to his seat.
And Arif Hidayat giving the CLS Knights the 5-point cushion. At the 6:44 mark of the second quarter, the Slingers called the timeout. The CLS Knights have turned things up here in the second quarter, Marco B. That is courtesy of their local player off the bench, their backup point guard, Arif Kertajaya, providing a spark and giving them the 2-possession lead.
In Game 3, it was Cornyawan who had 6 points in a losing effort. So far, it's Arif Hidayat with 5 points off the bench here in Game 4. He has outscored the Singapore Slingers bench.
And that's an interesting factor here, Marco B, because the bench production hasn't been there for CLS in the first 3 games. They got 4, 8, and 6 in the first 3 games. So this is a welcome sight for Coach Brian as they call the foul against the CLS Knights here.
That's going to be the 13th foul already for the Knights here in the second quarter. Singapore Slingers have yet to commit a foul, so that might be a factor.
Right. With only almost 3.5 gone here in the second frame. Alexander on top here. He's been the marked man here by the CLS Knights. He is up against Esho now. Saw the opening, attacked right away, and Alexander is able to get the deuce.
And again, using his quickness against Maxi Esho, Daryl Watkins late to the help.
So it's 28-25. Alexander able to trim it to a 3-point advantage. 4 minutes gone in the second quarter. Doug Herring. 7 seconds to shoot for the CLS Knights. He's got Ang Han Bin on him. Doug Herring stops, pops, does not drop. And Singapore goes the other way very quickly. But the CLS Knights have been good and on their transition defense here in the first half.
A little bit of an early shot there for Jaron Young.
Maxi Esho goes back out to Jawado. They swing the ball around. Hidayat, who hit a 3-pointer earlier, backs up, shoots the free. That's from the left wing, and he drops it in.
And what a boost off the bench. Hidayat has given the Knights supreme confidence. Showed John Fields back up a couple of steps, knocks it down in front of him.
Larry Liu tries to counter, too strong. Fields, Ang Han Bin getting it back off the glass and in.
I believe that's the first pair of second chance points for the Singapore Slingers, courtesy of Ang Han Bin.
Quick counter right there for the Singapore Slingers. Hidayat has been the man of the moment for CLS. Jawado for 3! And it's raining 3-pointers all of a sudden here in Gor Kertajaya.
And this is the last thing the Slingers want to happen, a shootout in Gor Kertajaya. Remember, number 1 3-point shooting team in terms of 3-point percentage. Xavier Alexander quickly silencing the crowd.
And this is what we did not see in game number 3. The lights out shooting from the outside from the CLS Knights. They're starting to click here in the second frame. Maxi Esho. They go to Watkins inside. Looking for the open man. Watkins turns. Short hook is good.
Coach Liu Bengshang continuing to rely on single coverage. And Daryl Watkins has continued to make them pay.
And Xavier Alexander in an effort to give the Slingers a quick counter, draws the foul in the process.
And you love the mindset of the MVP, not settling for outside jumpers. He knows that they need good possessions every time down the floor. Keeps attacking the rim, draws the foul once again from CLS.
And a timeout here on the floor. The CLS Knights, courtesy of their 3-point shooting, have created a 7-point lead, 36-29. Back to live action, 36-29 is the count. Exactly 4 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. Good things starting to happen here for the CLS Knights. And that includes beating Singapore at their own game. The fast break game has belonged to CLS here, at least in the first half, outscoring the Singapore Slingers there 9-0.
And you know, one of the X factors, as we mentioned, Arif Hidayat has played close to 8 minutes in the game, 8 points already. So that's about a point per minute. And he is one of the reasons why Wong Wei Long has not seen a lot of action.
But here is Xavier Alexander, 4th year with the Singapore Slingers. First time to win the MVP award this year. Has improved a lot through the years on that free throw. Knocks in the first to cut the lead down to 6.
Wong Wei Long in 6.5 minutes of play has yet to score here for the Knights. And they're lucky that Hidayat has really stepped up. But Xavier Alexander continues to be consistent. That's 2 for 2 from the line.
5-point lead by the CLS Knights.
There's a little 1-2-2 half-court pressure just to delay the offense here of the Knights.
14 remaining on the clock here. Hidayat stops, pops. That is short. Draws air on that one. Alexander facing up against Maxi Esho. They go cross-court. Oh, that is deflected by Herring. Well read by Doug. But Young will recover. Singapore on the attack here. Alexander for 3. No go. And a rebound goes to Brandon Jawado. Jawado bringing it downhill. They go to Herring at the post. He's got Ang Han Bin on him. The spin, the feed. Watkins draws the foul in the process again.
And again, that one off another pass from the interior, in the interior, coming from Doug Herring. So good things have happened every time Herring has penetrated the interior of the Singapore Slingers.
Look at the off-ball action right there. Cutting middle is Daryl Watkins, able to draw the foul. And 2 free throws coming up here.
That's one of the reasons why Herring has been, or is actually one of the leaders in terms of assists, averaging about close to 9 assists per ball game during the regular season because of those penetrations like those.
And with Maxi Esho and Doug Herring not doing as much in the scoring department, it's been the other guys like Watkins, Arif Hidayat carrying the scoring load for the CLS Knights. 6-point lead here. Young going to Liu. That is too strong on the three-pointer. Contested by Watkins.
Zone being showed there by the Knights.
Esho takes the contact from Young. And Young is called for the foul.
What about the court vision there of Doug Herring in transition? Credit also Maxi Esho continuing to run. Yeah, that has been the big difference we've seen in the game of CLS so far. They have really forced the issue and put pressure on the defense in transition.
They've turned up the pace here in this contest. And action has picked up really here in the second quarter as Esho misses the first free throw. And those are the things that they need to take advantage of, especially that they're getting a lot of attempts at the line tonight. Esho splits his charities. Under 3 minutes remaining.
But Martin, just to show you how aggressive the Knights have been, they've gone to the line 14 times already.
Wow.
Converted on 10 of those.
That is one more there of their total in game number 3, and we're only here in the first half. Alexander going baseline, dishing it out. Larry Liu, Desmono fakes it, attacks. Oh, swatted away by Watkins. Here comes CLS on the move. A foul given up by Young. And Esho will be at the free throw line.
That's a Judy foul there on the part of Jaron Young, preventing the highlight play by Maxi Esho, and he hears it from the crowd.
That is a good hard playoff foul given up by Jaron Young.
Did not really have the intention of hurting Maxi Esho, but the force or the momentum. Oh, it looks like they upgraded it
Oh, wow.
to an unsportsmanlike.
So this is the second unsportsmanlike foul called against the Singapore Slingers here in the first half. The first one, they called it on Desmono, and now it's Jaren Young who got the call. So Esho will have 2 free throws, and CLS will have a bonus possession.
I don't know if there was excessive contact on that one. I think it was more of the momentum of Maxi Esho.
Yeah. But Esho missing on the first free throw again. This could be the opportunity that CLS has been waiting for to create separation in this game, Marco.
So far they are enjoying their biggest lead of 7 points.
And Maxi Esho drops in the second. And so far, CLS Knights have kept it high scoring here in this ball game.
Exactly. So what I was about to say, in the second quarter of Game 3, it was 10-12 in favor of the Slingers.
So 39-31. CLS enjoying their biggest lead at 8 points. Wong Wei Long is back in the ball game facing Desmono, his longtime teammate. Here's the cross-court pass. Jawado catch and shoot. Had a good line, but that was too strong. Watkins with the offensive rebound. Herring, good defense here by Larry Liu, and Liu is forced to give up the foul.
And again, another penetration from Doug Herring, not settling for that three-point shot. What that does is it forces the defense to collapse, draws another foul from the Singapore Slingers.
And Marco B, CLS Knights, well, they've been scoring a lot on their transition plays, but when they get on the half-court set, so far tonight, they have been patient on their offense. And this is an inbound, sideline inbound here, as that is only the 4th team foul against the Singapore Slingers. Maxi Esho off the inbound, could not put it in. John Fields rips it out.
Esho has yet to connect on a three-point shot.
Alexander, Ang Han Bin. Oh! Poked away by Esho, and here is Maxi Esho. Watch out! Maxi Esho taking flight!
Another steal, leading to a fast break finish. 12 fast break points for the Knights.
And chance of MVP here in Gore Kertajaya after that thunderous slam by Maxi Esho. They got a timeout here, a 10-point lead by the CLS Knights. First half, the Singapore Slingers, Marco B, calling for the timeout, looking for some answers to the CLS barrage.
They're going to have to try to find a way to stop the momentum of the CLS Knights. Otherwise, they're going to go into the halftime huddle very confident to get a win here in Surabaya. 5 turnovers already, or 5 steals already for the Knights.
And that is exactly how they got blown out. Talking about the Singapore Slingers in game number 1. Yet another turnover. Not a good sequence of the timeout for Coach Neo Bengshang.
And you know, I don't get the idea why Delvin Go was going to set a ball screen for John Fields, because John Fields does not operate that way. He's not going to attack you off the ball screen from the top of the key.
So a lapse from Singapore, an opportunity for CLS, and they will take advantage. Jawado open for 3, knocks it down!
Another well-executed possession on the part of CLS. That's their 4th triple of the game. Assist number 9.
Oh, things getting chippy here between John Fields and Maxi Esho.
John Fields is frustrated.
Yeah.
He's been frustrated by the defense because he has not been able to operate inside pretty much the entire half.
That's right. But he will have an opportunity here at the free throw line that puts the CLS Knights in penalty situation. Here's the foul. He got clipped by Maxi Esho there. So the retaliation from John Fields came after.
There was a little grab there, or a little hook on the part of Maxi Escher, and John Fields did not want any part of it.
So Singapore Slingers looking for solutions as the game is slowly slipping away from their hands.
And you know, Martin, when you're down, when you're on the road, free throws are crucial because this is a way to silence the crowd. This is a way to get your rhythm back.
And especially when you're facing a very familiar high-octane CLS Knights here at home. And John Fields knocking down the second under a minute remaining, 57 seconds to be exact. Sandy Curnyawan checks in. And it is Wong Wei Long bringing it downhill for CLS. Wong Wei Long stopping, getting patient. Esho rather goes around. Got the contact, no go on the second serving. Here's John Fields falling down. Gets it to Alexander.
That was great defense on the part of the Slingers.
Alexander on the double pump, no good. Dog Herring ripping out the rebound against two red shirts. Herring. Under half a minute remaining here. That is, a collision here on the other side. They're getting to a wet spot on the side of the CLS Knights.
The referee stopping the play. Make sure that the floor is suitable, as there was no advantage on the part of the CLS Knights. There's that solid pick set there by Darryl Watkins, and Xavier Alexander doing his best to sell that call.
Yeah. But the stoppage came first as they're attending here to the wet spot on the floor. 44-32, CLS Knights finding their old identity here at home.
Knights are going to have 14 seconds on their shot clock. There's 24.23 seconds on the game clock. So the Slingers can still have the last say of the half.
10 seconds differential. Wong Wei Long goes to Sandy Curnyawan. Doug Herring against Desmono. He's got the matchup there. Oh, Darryl Watkins on the roll. 15 points for Watkins in the first half.
And again, off the penetration of Doug Herring. That's going to be a foul on Sandy Curnyawan. And things are getting very chippy.
We got to see it again, Marco. That was off the inbound. Alexander looking to bring the ball down. Sandy Curnyawan tagging him. Let's see here, Fields getting to Alexander.
Alexander also doing a good job to sell that. Hanging on to Sandy Curnyawan.
Gets himself an opportunity at the free throw line here. And the Slingers don't. This is not an unfamiliar situation for them because they have faced double-digit deficits in the past.
And this is the reason why free throws are important. And this is, Xavier Alexander being a veteran, being an MVP, he knows that he can really take advantage of this as referees are calling it tight. Knights are playing very physical.
Yeah. And that's 12 points now for Xavier Alexander. Two players getting at it again.
The Slingers know that the Knights have a rhythm. And they're just doing what they can to get whatever advantage they can muster.
So 7 seconds remaining. Wong Wei Long brings it down. 3 seconds. Wong Wei Long all the way, no good. And the CLS Knights unable to get a second shot right there as it goes out of bounds. That's the buzzer. That marks the end of the first half. The CLS Knights using a big second frame to create a commanding lead. 46-34 is the count against the Singapore Slingers. halftime stats and analysis coming your way. This is the Asean Basketball League Finals. Rise to greatness.
What makes a champion? Passion, grit, determination.
A challenge can make or break you. Work hard in silence. Let success be your noise.
Never stop, you can only get better. The only one that can hold you back is yourself.
I'm a warrior. I put my war paint on.
We are the composers of our own destiny. Nothing is out of reach if we dare to dream the impossible. Believe the unbelievable and never take no for an answer. Because greatness is in all of us. For we are all champions.
What makes a champion? Passion, grit, determination.
A challenge can make or break you. Work hard in silence. Let success be your noise.
Never stop, you can only get better. The only one that can hold you back is yourself.
I'm a warrior. I put my war paint on.
We are the composers of our own destiny. Nothing is out of reach if we dare to dream the impossible. Believe the unbelievable and never take no for an answer. Because greatness is in all of us. For we are all champions.
Fields drives in on Holyfield, who gets the rejection. Fields again drives in and is rejected again. Holyfield.
Elliott against Young. 6 seconds. Elliott, nice feed inside, and Holyfield with the dunk. Trouble finding the bottom of the net. There is a lid at the mono basket. Step back and the jumper from Douglas Herring. Fluid motion from Douglas Herring. You've seen him do that a lot of times this season.
he should not get into foul trouble. As you know, that was one of the things that hampered him in game 2.
How about this 3-on-1 going the other way? Malcolm White! Great feed coming from Singletary, and that is an indication of the energy level of Mono Vampire in this game.
John Fields out of his comfort zone, and he is winded.
Elliott goes up and in.
And that's how strong he should be finishing. Inside the paint, challenging the big guy.
Misses a three-pointer. Larry Liu is the first to the rebound. Underneath, but Delvin goes!
Larry Liu over the top of the zone to the weak side. The big man, Delvin goes with the alley-oop.
Lish with the basketball. He has been huge coming up with defensive plays and knocking down that last triple. Lish with the Rondo move! And that dunk has woken up this crowd. Leaky with the steal. Leaky. Dipsy-doo is good. Here we go. Hong Kong basketball, folks.
Mono Vampire on the move. Taken away by Arif. Read that play all the way. Arif goes reverse over Tyler Lamb. Arif Hidayat.
I think he's playing the game of his life right now.
$87-75. CLS and a steal by Herring. And Herring's going to scoot in for the reverse jam.
And there's your player of the game.
What makes a champion? Passion, grit, determination.
A challenge can make or break you. Work hard in silence. Let success be your noise.
Never stop, you can only get better. The only one that can hold you back is yourself.
I'm a warrior. I put my war paint on.
We are the composers of our own destiny. Nothing is out of reach if we dare to dream the impossible. Believe the unbelievable and never take no for an answer. Because greatness is in all of us. For we are all champions.
What makes a champion? Passion, grit, determination.
A challenge can make or break you. Work hard in silence. Let success be your noise.
Never stop, you can only get better. The only one that can hold you back is yourself.
I'm a warrior. I put my war paint on.
We are the composers of our own destiny. Nothing is out of reach if we dare to dream the impossible. Believe the unbelievable and never take no for an answer. Because greatness is in all of us. For we are all champions.
What makes a champion? Passion, grit, determination.
A challenge can make or break you. Work hard in silence. Let success be your noise.
Never stop, you can only get better. The only one that can hold you back is yourself.
I'm a warrior.
We are the composers of our own destiny. Nothing is out of reach if we dare to dream the impossible. Believe the unbelievable and never take no for an answer. Because greatness is in all of us. For we are all champions.
What makes a champion? Passion, grit, determination.
A challenge can make or break you. Work hard in silence. Let success be your noise.
Never stop, you can only get better. The only one that can hold you back is yourself.
I'm a warrior. I put my war paint on.
We are the composers of our own destiny. Nothing is out of reach if we dare to dream the impossible. Believe the unbelievable and never take no for an answer. Because greatness is in all of us. For we are all champions.
What makes a champion? Passion, grit, determination.
A challenge can make or break you. Work hard in silence. Let success be your noise.
Never stop, you can only get better. The only one that can hold you back is yourself.
I'm a warrior. I put my war paint on.
We are the composers of our own destiny. Nothing is out of reach if we dare to dream the impossible. Believe the unbelievable and never take no for an answer. Because greatness is in all of us. For we are all champions.
What makes a champion? Passion, grit, determination.
A challenge can make or break you. Work hard in silence. Let success be your noise.
Never stop, you can only get better. The only one that can hold you back is yourself.
I'm a warrior. I put my war paint on.
We are the composers of our own destiny. Nothing is out of reach if we dare to dream the impossible. Believe the unbelievable and never take no for an answer. Because greatness is in all of us. For we are all champions.
What makes a champion? Passion, grit, determination.
Finals, game number 4 of your Asean Basketball League. Singapore Slingers and the CLS Knights are battling it out tonight. CLS Knights taking the 12-point lead at halftime. Martin Javier, Marco Benitez here for the coverage. And Marco B, well, after that 8-0 run by the Singapore Slingers, you know, the CLS Knights have made a full recovery in this game. And in fact, they take a double-digit advantage. I think they did not show, they were not able to make in game number 3.
That's right, Martin. As you took a look at the stats, pretty much everything going the way of the CLS Knights. And 2 key points we talked about. Fast break points in favor of the Knights, 12-0. Second chance, points in the paint rather, in favor of the Knights, 22-12. Also free throw attempts, 17 already for the Knights, only 8 for the Singapore Slingers. They have been the aggressor, and that is why they're enjoying a double-digit lead.
Oh, Maxi Esho, what a start to the second half here. A two-handed throwdown for CLS.
And the Knights averaging about 86 points per game in the regular season. They are on pace to do just that.
Alexander missing on the shot, faking. Oh, couldn't score underneath. Even the gimmies have been missed by the Singapore Slingers here.
And the interior defense of the Knights has been on point, and I think key to that was getting Daryl Watkins aggressive or getting his confidence early in the game. We talked about how he was the missing factor in Game 3. Just 5 points. Right now, Watkins leading all scorers for the CLS Knights with 15 points.
And the first foul of the second half called against the Singapore Slingers. If we go back to the keys to the game, Marco B, all checks for the CLS Knights. Their offense has been smoothly flowing here, but for the Singapore Slingers, it's been all X's. They have not been able to keep it a low-scoring game, and
they have been able to defend the interior as well.
That's right. And their running game has been non-existent as well.
That's exactly right, Martin. Everything has so much major points all in favor of the home squad.
Here is Maxi Esho as we resume action here. Step back jumper. Too strong for Esho. And here is Jaron Young looking to get it going here in the third. Young all the way to the hoop plus the foul.
One thing that we did not see happen very often, or we did not see at all in the first half. That was the first pair of fast break points for the Singapore Slingers, courtesy of Jaron Young.
Look at the acceleration here by Jaron Young. Saw the straight line to the hoop, took advantage right away. And here is a three-point play opportunity here for Mr. Young, who has 4 points in the ball game. Couldn't complete the three-point play though.
There's still an entire second half awaiting for the Singapore Slingers. Can very much get back into this game, but they're gonna have to play solid defense.
And again, that is an open look for Brandon Jawado. Instant triple for the CLS Knights.
Right now, 5 out of 10 from long distance are the Knights, while the Singapore Slingers are missing. They are 2 out of 7. And we talked about how three-point shooting was also going to be one of the keys.
Right. And the Singapore Slingers have been giving them open looks. Wong Wei Long, guarded by Liu. Wong dishing it out. Jawado again, hand in his face. Back-to-back hits from distance for Brandon Jawado.
That was a tough shot there from Jawado, fading away with the hand in his face.
My goodness. Guns blazing to begin the second half for the CLS Knights as they open up an 18-point lead. Almost 2 minutes gone in the third. It is an 8-2 blast for the home squad to begin the second half, opening up their biggest lead of the night. 54-36. CLS Knights looking to stay alive in this series and force a game number 5.
And this is exactly the type of energy that Coach Brian Rosam wants out of that second half or that first half huddle. Is to dictate the tempo, dictate the momentum off the bat here in the second half. And they have done just that.
6 triples here for the CLS Knights. Back-to-back by Brandon Jawado. Before the timeout, a foul here against CLS. And they're going to call it away from the basketball.
And Martin, especially because the Singapore Slingers is not the type of a team that will overwhelm you with their offense.
Right.
They're more of a one-stop, score on one end of the floor. They will not really score in bunches or in splurges.
That's right. That's one of the reasons why they prefer having a low-scoring game. And that is Jaron Young stepping outside on the catch right there. Ball goes back to CLS.
And your credit to Jaron Young, starting out very aggressive. That's already 2 penetrations or 2 attacks to the rim. But on that sequence, the defense of the Knights holding fast.
Brandon Jawado here. Again, got the look he wanted. That one off to the right. Bit of a heat check right there for Jawado.
Would have brought the house down though.
Right. There's Young. Passed up on the open look. And that's why, ooh! A missed dunk by Jaron Young. And a frustration foul right after on Wong Wei Long.
A clearly frustration foul. Left that dunk a bit short. But you know, if you're Coach Neo Beng Shang, you love the aggressiveness.
Right.
Because so far he's the only one here in the second half taking the fight to the Knights.
Look at this play. He got the open lane, but just couldn't finish the throwdown.
Nobody else on the side of the red shirts as aggressive as Jaron Young. And Jaron Young is going to head to the bench. That's his 4th personal foul.
That's big, yeah. So Jaron Young, who's been foul prone all season long, picks up his 4th. And they're forced to go 3 locals here alongside Alexander and John Fields. And this is a foul against Singapore.
And you know, the Knights like to run that small to big screen or small to big handoff sometimes, using Doug Herring as the screener or the guy to hand off the ball. That time he was a screener against Daryl Watkins. Yeah. John Fields forced the foul against Doug Herring.
Sideline inbound here, or baseline inbound rather for CLS. Here comes Doug Herring. They go to Wong Wei Long on the pull-up jumper. Short. And that one goes high over the backboard, so ball will go back to the Slingers.
And you know, you cannot fault Wong Wei Long to trying to get his game going. Still scoreless. 0 out of 4 from the field is Wong Wei Long.
John Fields goes around the defense. Kicks it out to Ang Han Bin. No good on the corner triple.
Another well-challenged shot attempt there for the Knights.
Oh. Doug Herring recovering there for CLS. Wong Wei Long penetrating again. Gets to the paint. Jawado. Watkins thought about it. Finally taking the shot and able to knock it in on that 17-footer.
No defender in sight there for the Singapore Slingers.
And a quick answer on the other side. Much needed here by the X-Man, Xavier Alexander.
18-point bulge right now. Singapore Slingers need to make a stop.
4 minutes gone in the 3rd quarter. Doug Herring. He's got John Fields on the switch. Looking for Watkins, who has Larry Liu at the post. And that's a push called against Liu.
We love the basketball IQ of Doug Herring, using that 2-man game. Forcing that switch and then looking for his big man.
And Xavier Alexander barking instructions right there at the ear of Larry Liu. Here comes Watkins. Brandon Jawado here, facing up against Liu. Oh! When you're hot, you're hot! Brandon Jawado, 3rd triple here in the 3rd.
That one right in between the eyes of Larry Liu.
And John Fields forcing the issue right there off the spin. And he will head to the line here for a couple of shots. But how about Brandon Jawado, the fire starter for the CLS Knights?
Guy averaged about 13 points per ball game. Already up to 14 here in game 4. And you know, those penetrations by John Fields, they've been few and far between. He's only 3 out of 6 from the field. 8 points here in game 4.
Singapore Slingers staring at a 21-point mountain as John Fields misses on the first.
Against the Knights this season, Fields has been averaging 20 points per game,
right.
11.5 rebounds. So far, it's a far cry. 8 points, make that 9.
So 59-39 is the count as we approach the halfway point of the 3rd frame. Doug Herring getting it to Wong Wei Long on the left side. Herring gets it to Esho. They go to the corner. Cornyawan. Watkins on the fake. Cornyawan, by the way, entering for Jawado here. As Doug Herring, step back jumper, it's good. Everything falling for CLS.
That time with the shot clock winding down. Tough shot there on the part of Herring.
But Ang Han Bin with a fire extinguisher right there on the triple.
Much needed 3-point shot. Their third triple of the game.
They started off hot on that range, but couldn't sustain it. Talking about the red shirts. Sandy Cornawan
is content to move the ball around. That's going to be a... Looks like it was a swipe or a hook on the part of Daryl Watkins. Caught John Fields at the back of the head.
So John Fields will be called for the foul here. Let's see.
That's also going to be his fourth.
Right. So Young and Fields. Let's confirm it here. Watkins at the free throw line, going for the first shot here. Knights maintaining the 19-point lead. And again, the missing link in the past two games for the CLS Knights. Daryl Watkins has come alive here in game number 4.
So check that, Martin. That's actually going to be the third personal foul against John Fields.
So trouble slowly brewing here in the foul situation for the Singapore Slingers as Watkins misses the second. Xavier Alexander goes to Larry Liu. That's a three-pointer, and it's good.
That's going to be a double foul there between Doug Herring and John Fields. And guess what? That's going to be number 4.
Oh, wow.
Against the Singapore big man.
So Fields with 4 personal fouls right now. Young with 4 fouls. And things are not looking good here for the Singapore Slingers. Staring at a 20-point lead here.
And the question is, does the basket count from Larry Liu? Because that's a triple.
And on our scoreboard here at the venue, they're counting the shot, so it's 45-62. A double foul called against Herring and John Fields. Referees convening here, trying to determine the right call. But it looks like John Fields will remain on the floor, Marco. They could not afford him being on the bench.
That's a big gamble there on the part of Coach Neo Beng Shang, but I think the thought that is going through the mind of Coach Neo Beng Shang, it's now or never.
Right.
If they do not make a run to close out the third quarter, then that 20-point bulge is probably going to be insurmountable going into the fourth with your big man with 4 personals, Jaren Young also with 4 personals.
All right, so our officials heading to the scorer table here. Chief referee clarifying the final score. If it's gonna count, nope, it doesn't count because they subtracted the points here, so it remains at 62-42. Bit of a stoppage here.
So that sequence is really going to hurt the Singapore Slingers. Not only do they not count the triple, that is the 4th personal foul, as we mentioned, for John Fields.
A double whammy right there for Singapore. So they count the basket back, Marco B, 62-45. And with that stoppage, that was a good 3 to 5 minute stoppage here, Marco B. Could shift the momentum.
Yeah.
Could neutralize at least the momentum in this ballgame.
And that is what Coach Neo Beng Shang is hoping for.
So 4.5 minutes remaining. As we are about to resume action, we welcome you back to Gor Kertajaya here in Surabaya, Indonesia. Coach Brian clarifying the call here.
So our lead referee explaining to Coach Brian Rosso.
Again, Singapore Slingers up in this series 2 games to 1. So on the double foul, they will give free throws to Doug Herring because the Singapore Slingers are in the penalty. 2 shots here for Doug. Trying to get back the three-pointer scored earlier by Larry Liu. Knocks in the first.
9th point of the game for Doug Herring. So far, he has been perfect from the charity stripe, 5 out of 5. And of course, we jinx.
That's on you,
the
Marco B,
shooter.
though. That was perfectly. That was on cue. Perfectly called. That is.
And now they give possession to the Singapore Slingers, I believe.
So Singapore will have it here. Russell Lowe entering the ball game, replacing John Fields. So Coach Neo forced to sub out John Fields here with 4 personal fouls. Let's see if this cast can bring them back in the ball game.
Russell Lowe had 6 minutes of action in Game 3. Was scoreless though.
So the focal point will be the X-Man, Ong Han Bin. Back to Alexander, one-on-one against Esho, and that is a shot clock violation forced by the defense of the CLS Knights.
And the defense of the Knights just packing it in, just jamming that penetration coming from Xavier Alexander. They are not at all threatened by the outside shooting of the Singapore Slingers.
We saw earlier a couple of players with 4 personal fouls, Young and Fields, both on the bench of Singapore. CLS Knights on the attack here.
2-3 zone for the red shirts.
Wong Wei Long stopping, couldn't make the shot. Alexander gets it. Xavier goes to Delvin. Russell Lowe, who just came off the bench here, dishing it out to Larry Liu, who uses that. Delvin goes green. Ong Han Bin for 3. That's a bit too strong. And Ong Han Bin tried to poke it away from Watkins, unable to do so.
And without Jaron Young, without John Fields, there's hardly anybody that's going to be a threat inside the paint.
So Alexander will have to assert himself here as Maxi Esho drops in the jumper right there. A 3-pointer for Esho to give them back the 21-point lead.
That's about their average in terms of 3-point makes here in the finals, as Ong Han Bin with a good answer for the Slingers.
Yeah. Trimming it down to 18 again, Ong Han Bin.
Still a lot of time here in the 3rd quarter, close to 3 minutes.
Here's the find. Oh, Watkins with a thunderous slam underneath.
And without John Fields manning the middle, miscommunication on that 2-3 zone. Battle Watkins wide open for the flush.
And this is not the ideal scenario for the Singapore Slingers. Trading baskets right now with CLS. Alexander attacking Esho. Xavier losing it out.
You notice the defense of the Knights just standing around, just waiting for the penetration to happen. They're just shadowing their man outside and then waiting for the penetration.
So that is Harif Hidayat in the ball game now for CLS. 2:25 to go in the 3rd frame.
Jaron Young is also back in the game. Coach Neo Beng Shang needs a mini run here to close out the 3rd, and he's relying on his athletic wingman to give them just that.
But if you're CLS, you see
It was really the three-point shooting of the Knights here in the third quarter that broke this game wide open.
CLS trying to go for the two-man game there between Doug Herring and Nugroho. The pass was deflected out, so ball will stay with CLS with about 13 seconds to shoot, 38 seconds on the game clock.
The referee is doing a good job talking it out.
Catch and shoot. In and out for Doug Herring. Foul on the rebound right there against Esho.
That's going to be the fourth personal foul on Maxi Esho. So CLS cannot sleep on these Singapore Slingers.
So Singapore Slingers quietly getting the fourth foul of Maxi Esho.
That's a veteran move there on the part of Xavier Alexander, tangling up Maxi Esho.
And more importantly, they get to stop the clock and they get to trim the lead at the free throw line. Alexander going to the line. Hasn't been the ideal game for the X-Man as he is continuously crowded by the defense of CLS. Drops in the first free throw, 15 points so far for Alexander.
Problem is he is the only slinger in double figures. John Fields has 9 points, but saddled with foul trouble. Larry Liu also with 4 personals and 8 points. Jaron Young, 4 personals, 7 points. First miss of the X-Man from the line.
But the Slingers right now are 11 out of 17 as a team. For Singapore, you gotta get a stop here and get a basket probably right after to get it closer. As we end the third, here comes Doug Herring. Hesitating on the drive, he diet open. Off to the left. Alexander, quick outlet, the catch by Young. He's got Hidayat here. And that's a foul given up by Doug Herring with 1.7 seconds remaining here in the third.
And again, a smart play there on the part of Xavier Alexander. Quick forward pass to the streaking Jaron Young. And as he has done all game long, Jaron Young remains to be aggressive. He draws the foul from Doug Herring.
And if you're Singapore, this is how you chip away at the free throw line, stopping the clock again. And Young has been the catalyst of this scheme. At the free throw line right now, he's got 7 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 dimes.
And
Calmly drops in the first.
For Doug Herring, that was his second personal foul. Maxi Esho and Brandon Jawato both have 4 personals. Watkins has
going into the fourth frame. Saturday evening here inside the Palace in Kertajaya in Surabaya, Indonesia for game number 4 of your Asean Basketball League Finals. You got Martin Javier, Marco Benitez breaking this game down, and all the quarters so far going to the CLS Knights as they take the 16-point lead going into our last quarter.
And this is exactly the type of output that the Knights need or Knights want. Not scoring below 20 points in any quarter. They average about 76 points per game against the Singapore Slingers this season. And they are definitely on track and on pace to beat that.
CLS Knights with their backs against the wall, responding very well to the pressure here at home. But let's see if they could maintain it and seal the victory here and force game number 5. The Singapore Slingers, though, are filled with ABL veterans that are used to these kinds of situations. As we see a foul there underneath on the second effort is Daryl Watkins there.
But regardless, this is just a 14-point deficit for the Singapore Slingers as Ang Han Bin got the wind knocked out of him on that rebounding sequence.
Hard collision.
Looks like he's bleeding.
Hard collision there with Daryl Watkins. 70 to 56 is the count. Ang Han Bin heads to the bench here. Looks like he is bleeding, either bleeding or has a bruise on that right side of his face.
And I don't know if the referee called a technical as well for something that Ang Han Bin said.
So there was a technical, so Sandy Cornyawan taking the technical free throw here.
He did not like the contact that came after that Daryl Watkins offensive rebound, and he let the referee know. So chance for Sandy Cornyawan to up this lead once again.
And also get his jumper going as he knocks down the free throw right there. Sandy Cornyawan gets them the 15-point lead. 9:21 to go. CLS will have it. Here's the inbound off the baseline. Arif Hidayat, the catch. Oh, saw the opening but couldn't make the layup.
Sorry, missed there on the part of Hidayat. That was a beautiful baseline inbounds play, but a quick answer for Xavier Alexander. So lead is down to 13 points, Martin.
But we're gonna credit that threading the needle pass by Jaron Young.
Coach Brian Rosa will not wait for the lead to be trimmed down even further. He's going to send Jawato back in the game despite having 4 personals.
Wong Wei Long, the kick out to Cornyawan for 3. It's good!
What a big shot there for Sandy Cornyawan. That free throw really did the trick.
Jaron Young for 3. Oh, that's way off for Young. And Doug Herring getting the rebound here. Sandy Cornyawan with a big-time basket to prevent the uprising of the Singapore Slingers.
Ups the lead back to 16.
Here comes Watkins against the smaller Young.
There's no help defense.
That's the 4 fouls. Oh, Watkins forcing his way in, able to get the hoop.
And you cannot leave Jaron Young with 4 personal fouls on an island against a 7-footer.
Lead back up to 18. Russell Lowe, series of moves. There's a foul inside.
That's a nice dream shake there on the part of Russell Lowe.
So Watkins, I believe, called for the foul here. That will be his 4th. Russell Lowe to the free throw line. A couple of shots coming here for him. Hidayat heads to the bench. Lowe takes the free throw, knocks down the first.
Coach Neo Ben Shang is forced, I believe, to send John Fields.
The Brandon Jawato, as you mentioned earlier, Marco, is back on the floor for CLS.
John Fields is back in the game. despite having 4 personals.
Here is Jawado, slowly bringing it down for the Knights. They have the 16-point lead.
So it's Fields matched up against Jawado. It's Russell Lowe on Daryl Watkins.
Jawado stopping on a dime right there. Jawado taking the free on the turn, no go. Alexander with the rebound. And that's a slip, a foul from behind. It will be called either against Watkins or Cunyawan.
I think they're going to give it to Sandy Cunyawan.
And that is the second team foul by the CLS Knights. And called it on the trip from Sandy. Here comes the X-Man. 7:22 remaining in the ball game here. John Fields passing it to Russell Lowe. Lowe puts it on the floor. They go to the corner. Young for 3. In and out. All alone for the rebound is Lowe. They kick it out to Liu. Russell driving. Russell, the floater. And does not drop. An empty trip for the Singapore Slingers.
I can see the confidence of Russell Lowe is definitely shot, not there, as he has not seen a lot of action this entire season. Had a wide open putback, opted to take the ball back out.
Those were good looks for the Singapore Slingers. And here comes CLS. Doug Herring deciding to shoot the 3. Rims out. Larry Liu up ahead to John Fields that throws it down.
And Coach Brian Rossum, sensing something, calls a timeout. He does not like what he sees.
And the Singapore Slingers will not go away. They're trying to chip away here in the 4th frame, cutting the lead down to 14, 76-62. Crowd getting louder as we progress into this 4th quarter. The CLS Knights maintaining the 14-point lead, 76-62. A timeout was called by CLS because Coach Brian felt the run was coming for Singapore.
And he wants to stem this run as early as possible, does not want momentum to shift to the Singapore Slingers. 14 points, definitely mathematically possible with 6.5 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. Foul situation. Esho has 4 personals. Jawado with 4. Watkins has 3. Meanwhile, for the Slingers, Larry Liu with 4. John Fields has 4. And Jeren Young also with 4 personals.
That paints us a picture here as we head to the last 6 minutes of this ball game. Here is Maxi Esho. Over to Doug Herring here off the spin. Herring creating space. Couldn't make it though, but Watkins again has been doing that all night. The second effort for Daryl Watkins.
And again, the penetration of Doug Herring resulting in buckets.
But Xavier Alexander again breaking the momentum and also getting the 4th foul here. Let's see the attack by Xavier, taking it straight to Daryl Watkins in that sequence. 4th foul also on Watkins.
Yeah, Xavier Alexander, one of the best at protecting that basketball, that football carry. Something that guys who like to finish in transition love to do to protect the ball against the prying hands.
So 3 key players for the CLS Knights now with 4 personal fouls. You're talking about Watkins, Jawado, and Maxi Esho. Alexander. Oh, no good on the second, but Lowe right there with a cleanup. What a big shot by Russell Lowe.
3-point play in reverse there for the Singapore Slingers. And don't look now, lead is down to 13.
Brandon Jawado will try to create for CLS. He heads it to Maxi Esho, who attacks Young. Esho on the drive. Esho able to flip it up and in.
Maxi Esho has to be careful. He's not called for a delay of game. Handing the basketball after the basket.
But the CLS Knights, well, they've answered the call of Singapore. Alexander with a big triple.
Lead is down to 12 points. Singapore hanging in this one. Stop here and a bucket cuts it down to 10.
Halfway point of the fourth frame. Herring over to Watkins. Oh, that is the fifth foul on Fields. And he is done for the night.
The referee got him for initiating the contact.
Daryl Watkins outplaying John Fields tonight.
This is their numbers. Watkins with 24, but here's that post-up move. And the bump.
Taking it to the core of John Fields to force the bump. So Russell Lowe back in the ball game here for the Singapore Slingers. It's Lowe against Watkins. Wong Wei Long getting it to Watkins. Watkins shoots the jumper. It's good. Oh wow, Daryl Watkins.
Russell Lowe defended that sequence as well as he could. Forced Watkins to the outside shot. But the big man just in rhythm tonight. 26 big points.
Russell Lowe with a breakaway. Oh, couldn't score it with the left hand. And the Singapore Slingers missing golden opportunities at the rim.
Reminiscent of his 23 and 12 outing in game 1. Watkins has 26 and 12.
Esho almost losing it. Oh, snatched away by Alexander. Here is the X-Man. We have the numbers here. Alexander takes it to the house, able to draw the foul on Herring.
And Alexander taking it upon himself, making sure that he either got the layup or drew the foul.
And again, with 2 free throws in, assuming he makes both, as we see this drive by Alexander in transition, this will only be a 12-point game, Orkopi, and we have a lot of time remaining, a lot of basketball to be played, 3:59 to be exact. We got a timeout first. 14-point lead maintained by CLS as we head into this break.
Jangan
82 to 68, that is the count here. We got about 4 minutes, a little under 4 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter. And CLS Knights looking to pocket this win in game number 4 and again force a rubber match. If we do that, if they're able to get the win here, we will go back to the OCBC Arena in Singapore for game number 5.
You can be sure Xavier Alexander, the season MVP, still has other things in his mind as he heads to the line. 6 of 8 from the stripe, 23 points already for the X-Man.
They're not yet done here as he trickles in the first free throw. No spark here for the Singapore Slingers. Xavier Alexander, 24 points across his name.
Expect their 1-2-2 half-court trap.
Oh! That kicked out for Alexander. So it is a 13-point game. Doug Herring. Nowhere to go, gets it to Esho. Esho, hounded by Liu. Great stay-at-home defense here, played by Liu. Esho on the post-up. Esho on the double pump.
Just too big, too strong, too long is Maxi Esho against Larry Liu.
Nothing you can ask more from Maxi Esho as he hits 20 points in this ball game. Young for three. This will be big. No. Rebound goes to Watkins. And the Knights, with time on their side, can go for a deliberate play here and melt the clock. Watkins, quick jumper, too strong, low with the board.
Slingers are still alive.
Here comes Young. Young attacking Watkins. Young gets it in. Slingers still fighting.
Watkins lucky not to pick up his 5th personal on that sequence.
Daryl Watkins here. Under 3 minutes remaining here. Doug Herring on the post-up against Larry Liu. And Liu will be called for the personal here.
Now we've not seen this Doug Herring post-up that often here. It's actually, in my count, only the 2nd time Doug Herring has posted up in this game. Well, that results in the 5th personal foul on Larry Liu.
One of the top defenders of the Singapore Slingers going to the bench. Done for the night as well. And they will go for this lineup. Delvin Go, Russell Lowe. Alongside Jaron Young and Desmond O with Xavier Alexander. CLS on the attack again. 6 seconds to work with. Maxi Esho against Alexander. Jawado blowing by Alexander. He lets him go. Couldn't score with the left hand. Here comes Alexander. Oh! That was off Alexander according to our referee.
Breaks just not going the way of the Singapore Slingers.
2 and 15 from forcing game number 5. CLS Knights in the driver's seat. Watkins.
Basket here could really put this game away.
Right. Long way long. Foul from behind by Desmond O.
Not going to count though.
So that's a foul on Desmond.
That's going to send Wong Wei Loan to the free throw stripe.
Singapore Slingers entering penalty situation.
Chance for the former local MVP to get his first points of the game.
Hasn't been the ideal night, you're right, for Wong Wei Long. Has had his share of struggles in this series. Only 8 points in total in the game, or in the games that he's played. And Wong Wei Long getting his first points here.
But credit Arif Hidayat off the bench. 8 points, really stepping up in the absence of the scoring from Wong Wei Long.
Alexander on the double pump, will not work. Delvin Go, they gang up on the rebound, they kick it out to Young. Jaron on the quick pull-up jumper, drops that one in. 12-point lead. Wong Wei Long hounded at the backcourt. Oh, Esho, let's see if they can get it across. Oh, Esho maintaining control right there.
Just beating the clock or beating that 8-second violation.
Oh, Jawado losing it to Young. Here is Delvin Go. Quickly to Desmond. Alexander from the corner. Short on the triple.
Did not have the legs on that three-point attempt.
And the CLS Knights are feeling it. Doug Herring against Delvin Go here on top. The bounce. Watkins with the exclamation point.
And how fitting is that? Daryl Watkins with the icing on the cake. The guy we counted on, or the guy we talked about, who needed to have a big game. He's going to finish with 26 points.
Wow. Bounce back performance right here for Daryl Watkins. 14-point lead for the Knights, under a minute remaining. .9 seconds remaining. The CLS Knights looking to bag this win in game number 4, tie the series up against the Singapore Slingers.
Marty, we talked about how Daryl Watkins was the missing piece. Had 5 points in game 3. As you mentioned, big comeback game for him. 26 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists. And he leads all CLS Knights.
How about
the scoring?
Right, and how about the offense of CLS today? Just overwhelming the Singapore Slingers, getting them off their game as well, Marco B. Because as the offense was flowing, the crowd was getting into it. Everything went CLS way.
We talked about how defense was the key if Singapore wanted to get a win.
Yeah.
They have been able to hold the CLS Knights to just 58.5 points per game in their 2 wins. CLS averages about 86 points per game. They're probably going to finish at around 87, close to 90 points in this impending win. So when the offense is good, it is in favor of the Knights. They have 3 players in double figures. Esho has 20, Watkins has 26, Jawato has 17.
And remember, in their lone win so far in the series, game number 1, they scored 86 points.
Coach Neo Beng Shang is going to raise the white flag. He's going to pull out his MVP.
And we're just waiting for the final score here, but what a dominating performance by the home squad. The CLS Knights successful in defending the Palace tonight. Wong Wei Long dribbling this one out.
We talked about the things or the keys to the game of the CLS Knights. Dominate inside the paint. They outscored Slingers 36-24. Fast break points 12-10 in favor of the home squad. And their 3-point shooting. 9 triples in the game, 9 out of 20 to 45%.
The crowd on its feet. CLS Knights 5 seconds away from getting it. And there you have it. The CLS Knights have defended the Palace here in Kertajaya. 87-74 win. And for the second straight year, the ABL Finals will go the distance. Will stretch to a 5th game, a rubber match to decide the champion this year. And the emotions pouring here inside our venue. A very much deserved win for the loyal fans of the CLS Knights. Given to them by this team who has shown brilliance all throughout the season, Marco B. They may have found their true form, their true identity. Got it back here in game number 4.
More than just the win, Martin, it was a character test for them after a sorry loss in game 3. Also after a tremendous loss for them in game 2. What a confidence boosting win for them here in game 4. And we're going to head to a rubber match in Singapore on Wednesday. And that is for all the marbles.
A winner take all game number 5. And Doug Herring raising the flag right here at midcourt. Crowd still cheering. Crowd still chanting. And what a game 5 we'll be having on Wednesday, Marco P.
And what was important for me, Martin, was the way they started the game out. 8-0 run here for the Knights. Really got their confidence up. Really got the crowd into it. Finishing that first quarter 21-18. Backing it up with a 25-16 second quarter.
That was actually the early wake-up call they needed to get the sense of urgency back in the ball game. And that was all she wrote for the CLS Knights after that one. And game number 5 again will be happening at the OCBC Arena on Wednesday. A winner take all. An opportunity to rise to greatness here in season number 9.
Alright guys, here we are at the end of the game. Congratulations for the BTN CLS Knights. And we are going to interview 2 of the key member of the BTN CLS Knights. One of them is the player of the game. It's Daryl Mook, the Giant Watkins. 28 points with 16 rebounds. What is motivating you into this game? What is the motivation for you in this game, Daryl?
It was win or go home. Basically, this would be the end of the season, and I didn't want that to happen. And the rest of my teammates believed in the same thing.
And I also noticed that you have a stare down with John Fields. Can you tell us a little bit about the stare down, man?
Hey, it was one of those games. Like I wanted to revenge myself in the last game. I felt like I didn't play well, and that contributed to us losing. So this was a me and John Fields battle.
Yeah, but really they need to make sure that you will have the top performance in the next game, the last game, for you to win, alright? Alright, next to the coach. Coach, congratulations, coach, for the victory for this 4th game. So, coach, can you tell us what is the main difference between the 3rd game and the 4th game here?
Well, we played with a lot more energy. We finished our shots. We made our inside shots tonight. We shot a higher percentage, and you see Watkins was a big difference tonight for us. And we got them in foul trouble. That was also important.
Tonight is a physical game, and I noticed that you guys play more aggressive in this game. Is that the mindset that you tell your players in the quarter?
Yes, because we have nothing to lose, and I told them we got to be aggressive. If we have to lose, let's be aggressive losing. So we played with a lot of confidence tonight. We can carry it into game 5.
Maybe lastly, you can say thank you to our fans who support us.
Tarim Makasi to all the fans, great fans here. So Satalagi.
One more, guys. Thank you very much, coach. Congratulations. Hope you will win the final game.
Thank you.
All right, guys. One thing for sure, they both make me feel so little. Back to you guys.
The game recognition for Daryl Watkins. Monster double-double tonight with 26 and 15, and more importantly, doing a better job against John Fields tonight, Marco B.
He clearly outplayed John Fields in their matchup, and that game plan of Coach Brian Rossum to go to Daryl Watkins early, paying a lot of dividends for the CLS Knights as he was awarded player of the game. He was aggressive, not only on the offensive end, but also on the defensive end. That really dictated the tempo, dictated the pace of the game and the character of the game on the defensive end for the Knights.
Watkins relentless in attacking the basket, relentless in crashing the glass all night long, leading the way for the CLS Knights, backing this victory in game number 4 and forcing a rubber match here in this series. And again, you know, before this game for Watkins, he scored 5 and 8 points in game number 2 and in game number 3. So this is a much needed boost to the confidence, to the morale of Watkins, especially in playing against John Fields here in the finals.
And you know, Martin, overall, I think Coach Brian Rossum had a great game plan, made some crucial adjustments. They came out strong, forced the pace of the game to move up. They really dictated the tempo, got out in transition, as we mentioned, 12-10. It was a 12-0 at the end of the first half in terms of fast break points. They also dominated inside the paint, did not settle for those outside shots early. Also hit their stride or hit their stroke from the outside, finishing with 9 triples in the game. Meanwhile, for the Singapore Slingers, they were not able to do their job defensively, as this was probably one of the highest scoring games in this series. We're not able to hold the CLS Knights below their average. As we take a look at the stats, 9 of 20 from the 3-point line, 4 of 6, or 46% rather from the field. Look at those whopping 18 of 26 free throws, 21 big assists for the CLS Knights, and then they also took care of the basketball. Just 8 turnovers for the home squad. Really overall, much better game for the Knights.
Marco B, they had one less free-pointer in this game, but I believe those were timely free-pointers in the most opportune time to create separation and pull away for the Singapore Slingers, or from the Singapore Slingers. Marco B, any last thoughts on this game? Game number 4 that we just had, and the next game that we are going to be having, the winner-take-all at the OCBC Arena.
Well, fittingly, this series is going to go to 5 games, and when it comes to that winner-take-all match, you throw the stats all away. It boils down to who wants it most, who wants to get their first championship in their ABL career more than the other.
Rise to greatness.